Eh bien le bonjour les amis, on se retrouve pour un nouveau gameplay aujourd'hui. Alors, pour ceux qui connaissent, j'ai pas besoin de le présenter. Ceux qui ne connaissent pas, je vous présente Autopsy Simulator. Autopsy Simulator, comme son nom l'indique, eh ben, c'est un jeu où on va être obligé de faire des autopsies sur des corps et voir leur décès et tout. Voilà. Bon, c'est la seule chose que je sais. C'est un jeu où normalement, je dis bien normalement, il doit avoir des jumpscares. Donc, on va voir ça tout de suite. Hâte d'y aller. Allez, c'est parti, on y va, les amis. Let's go. On va voir comment il est un peu. Savoir s'il est bien, s'il est pas bien. Bon, il n'y a pas de raison. On me l'a conseillé.
Office of the Medical Examiner, Petersville. Dr. Jack Hanman is speaking. How can I help you?
Good evening, this is Kate Brooks. I'm not sure if you remember me. A few weeks ago, we talked about an article I'm working on. It's about your wife. I dropped by last Friday to speak to you, but you weren't working at the time. I asked the security guard to pass on a note for me. I would like us to discuss the topic of...
I thought I had made it painfully obvious for the last time. No! Please don't call me again and stop inquiring about my wife. Damn journalists. They don't let me work. God damn it. I'm not in the best frame of mind to record a lecture for my students now. I'm feeling completely broken. Where did I leave my meds this time?
Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on doit faire? Alors, autothérapie. Chercher les cachets dans les toilettes. Ok, bon, bah, on va aller chercher les cachets dans les toilettes. Hein. C'est quoi ça? Eh ben voilà.
Okay, time to pull myself together. And get back to work.
Ok.
I need to set the camera first.
Alors, prendre la caméra dans la réserve. Social room, non. Storage, ok.
This place is starting to look like a hoarder's dream, rather than a storage room.
Voilà.
Now remember, Jack, don't forget, hit the record button this time.
Ok, donc, à mon avis, donc, ok, il a dit n'oublie pas d'appuyer sur le bouton Jack, bouton d'enregistrement. Donc, on joue le rôle de Jack. Ok.
Hopefully the new tripod is going to hold up.
On a notre premier cadavre, d'accord. Allez, on va placer la caméra.
Now, I just have to get everything in frame.
Alors, cadrer l'image sur le cadavre et lancer l'enregistrement.
This should be fine.
Allez.
November 20th, 1991. Time, 8:43 p.m.
On n'est pas trop mal. Alors, attendez. Parce que du coup, moi, j'ai le son qui est hyper fort avec ce casque. Je ne peux pas le régler, celui-ci. Alors, c'est un peu embêtant. Audio. Hop, les voix. Je vais les baisser légèrement.
Recording for medical students from the University of
C'est un peu
Missouri.
moins fort
This
quand même.
autopsy is conducted by Jack Hanman. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the autopsy room. Today, you will have the dubious pleasure of following a full autopsy, step by step. For those of you who have already performed your first autopsy, this will refresh your basic knowledge. In turn, for those whose knowledge is only theoretical, I advise not to watch this after a meal.
Ok. Alors, bonne pratique durant une autopsie. Jetez un coup d'œil au tableau. D'accord.
Let's start.
Dire aux étudiants ce qui prime dans ce métier. Ah ah.
During your research, be patient, inquisitive, but above all, attentive to detail. Many entries are visible at first glance, but sometimes they can be cover for more interesting stories.
Ok.
Always wear an apron, mask, and gloves. Goggles are a must when the job is splashy, and in case of sharp accidents, it's worth having disinfectants at hand. It's true that you won't get ptomaine poisoning straight away, but if your liver or kidney aren't doing well, you may end up with diarrhea. Now, onto the police folder. That will contain all sorts of pertinent information as to who the deceased might be, and what potentially happened to them. So, let's take a closer look, shall we?
Alors.
The deceased's name is Tobias Chambers, locally known as Old Toby. Homeless and unemployed for at least a couple of years. The deceased was found on the outskirts of a parking lot at a gas station, where he often begged and persistently offered drivers to wash their car windows. The body was noticed by a station employee during the morning shift. Initially, he thought that someone had thrown some boots and a coat in a nearby ditch. It took him a moment to recognize the pile of clothes as the body of a man. He worked most of his life at the local port dealing with unloaded cargo. He was fired for being drunk and starting fights. His son runs a hardware store on his own. His wife left him years ago. They both had no contact with the deceased. Signs of libation were found around the body. Empty bottles, traces of an inept attempt to start a fire, and a scattered makeshift blanket.
Ok, d'accord. Attends,
That's it.
tromper le
It's
bouton.
worth remembering the context around the scene of a death. This allows you to better interpret any traces found on the body. I shouldn't start the procedure without gloves.
Alors les gars, je les avais vus tout à l'heure.
Now it's our turn to take some pictures for our files. If I can just remember where I left the camera. It's in here somewhere.
Récupérer l'appareil photo dans le tiroir du bureau.
Aha! There you are.
Ok,
I knew it was here somewhere.
ok. Donc ça c'est
As I
fait.
mentioned at the beginning, before we begin the internal examination, we
Prendre
need
une
to document the
photo.
cadaver and the condition it arrived in. We begin with a full body photo. Try and stick to the top-down rule, but this is not always possible. Let's keep in mind it's all about the legibility, not the perfect frame.
Prendre une photo globale du cadavre.
Voila, now we move on to the next step, looking for
Okay.
traces. Take your time. Look at the corpse from different sides, from different angles, up close, and from a distance. You're looking for anything out of the ordinary.
Trouver les traces à répertorier sur le corps. Là. Ok, ouais. Photographier.
The boiler-healed wound looks old.
D'accord.
I'll take a closer look later.
Quand ça clignote, en fait, c'est qu'il faut que je zoome. Ok. Non. Attendez, parce que ma souris est beaucoup trop sensible. Là, c'est un peu moins sensible quand même.
Some wounds in the feet and signs of frostbite, probably because the subject's shoes were too small.
Ok, il y a des lésions sur le pied. Là.
That's something interesting. It will be necessary to check whether this injury was severe enough to cause damage to the brain.
Et maintenant, il me faut la dernière.
Hardened hands, worn out by physical work, and frostbite.
Oh, il a des engelures, d'accord.
In a moment, we will check which of our initial observations will be worthy of further consideration. But before we get to that, I need to write down some basic data.
Bon, heureusement que je fais pas du live sur TikTok. Parce que il y a longtemps que je serais été banni. Hein. Alors, réaliser l'autopsie. Ok. Eh ben, allez, hein. Réaliser l'autopsie.
Personal
Comment
information.
fait-on?
The deceased was unclothed. Date. Okay. As you can see, I note everything down on previously prepared forms. Every pathologist must keep a detailed record of every step of the autopsy. This not only allows you to track the procedure, but also collates the results together, upon which you may back up your conclusions. So, enough of the boring prep. Let's begin by taking a closer look at the spots I photographed earlier. For this, you're going to need a magnifying glass.
Examiner les zones d'intérêt à la loupe. Alors, comment fait-on? Outils tab. Ok, loupe.
Which spot first? Here we can see frostbite on the
Alors, la
fingertips.
main.
We can tell by the characteristic skin color.
D'accord.
I can confirm the presence of ecchymosis on the deceased man's head. The appearance indicates the intravital nature of the wound. Add alcohol, which I can clearly smell, and this was an accident just waiting to happen.
Ok. Donc, il aurait eu, à ce qu'il dit, il aurait eu
It
l'accident
looks like a burn mark.
à cause
No
de
doubt
l'alcool.
painful, but it's not pertinent for this case. Definitely a painful mix of frostbite, abrasions, and blisters. Old Toby had been wearing shoes too small for him for a very long time. That's if he wore any at all. So far, there are a lot of superficial wounds, but only one serious injury to the head. Let's go back to our notes.
Alors, indiquer les blessures retrouvées sur le mannequin de l'écritoire. 4 endroits. Il est où le mannequin? Mannequin de l'écritoire. Non. Il est où ce mannequin là? Mannequin de l'écritoire, je comprends pas là. Ah, c'est peut-être dans le dossier, non? Euh... Non? Ah, je valide. Ah, écritoire, shift.
First, I mark the
Voilà.
location of the entries and make notes for each one. So, if Toby's body was we're not in frost, the head wound. Even though this type of wound didn't contribute to the deceased's death, we're still required to record it. As you can see, we don't have much to go on. Let's write down what
Alors, cause
preliminary
du
causes of
décès.
death we can think of. Various types of accidents are a common cause of death among the homeless and the elderly. Perhaps old Toby slipped and accidentally hit his head. The nights have been considering the conditions. This is of no interest to us. Since the deceased clearly smelled of alcohol, I'll add alcohol poisoning to our list.
Mhm. Poser l'écritoire et continuer l'autopsie. Ok.
We still have one thing left from the basics. Rigor mortis. Well, we take our deceased by the hand.
Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire?
Gradually re-raise it.
Ah ouais, d'accord, il faut rester dans les deux traits, d'accord. Ok. Ah, c'était pas ça qu'il fallait faire?
Now let it go.
Ah, d'accord,
As you can
il
see,
fallait que je monte jusqu'en
the
haut,
hand
ok.
falls loose. What's the conclusion? Death must have occurred more than 72 hours ago. The police information appears correct.
Ok, donc le décès il y a plus de 72 heures, ok, d'accord.
Head trauma seems the most promising, so we'll start there. For this, I need an oscillating saw.
Oh putain, faut que j'ouvre le crâne. La scie. Là.
The cut is made from ear to ear. After which, we remove the skin and the top of the skull.
Alors, commencer une analyse poussée du cerveau en l'examinant.
After the basic examination, we can see that the brain's cerebral gyri in both hemispheres are symmetric. The brain looks good. Let's take a cross-section.
Ok.
Some pathologists prefer to examine organs without removing them. However, for me, it's much more convenient to examine them on a board, which we'll do now.
Dessicquer le cerveau sur la planche à découper. D'accord.
Holding a long, narrow blade knife in the dominant hand, we slowly cut the cranial nerves on both sides, all the time pulling the brain towards us. So far, so good.
Ok.
The hematoma seems to have had no effect on the brain.
Ah. C'est dégueulasse. C'est vraiment dégueulasse. Reprendre l'autopsie.
We can rule the fatal accident out as well.
Alors, les deux hémisphères cérébraux symétriques avec des sillons nets. Alors, éliminer la chute des causes possibles du décès.
Brain is in good condition, so we have no choice but to proceed to the internal examination of the other organs.
Ok, donc c'est pas une chute.
I grab a scalpel from my kit.
Ok, alors là, le scalpel.
The incision should be in the shape of a letter Y.
On va être
We
obligé
use a
de
deep cut to
l'ouvrir.
reach all the way to the ribs and to penetrate the abdominal wall.
Ok. Ben c'est bon, je l'ai ouvert là.
All right.
Ah, pas à fond.
Now we peel back and separate the skin.
Alors, avec la main libre, rabattre les pans de peau. Ah. Ça, c'est vraiment dégueulasse. Bah alors, je peux pas là? Alors là, je peux. Là, je peux pas. Pourquoi je peux pas? Ah, ok. Il y a un endroit spécifique à l'attraper? Alors. Ah, c'est pas possible, j'arrive pas à le rabattre. Ah,
Now, we need to
voilà.
remove the ribs. We'll need the loppers for this.
Alors, sélectionnez la pince costotum et retirez les côtes. Là.
Quite a satisfying
Oh.
crunch, for some anyway. After removing the cartilage tissue, we instantly notice two things. Firstly, we can see widespread black and tarry. Despite the tragic condition of the lungs, they are not the cause of death. Alice smoked too. It didn't kill her, but... what was I talking about? Lungs. Yes. Advanced inflammation.
Ok, il a une inflammation bien correcte. Ok, inflammation avancée des poumons. Sans lien avec la mort. Ok, donc c'est pas ça qui l'a tué.
What now? The syringe. Now's a
Ok.
good time to collect some samples.
Alors, sélectionnez la seringue et prélevez 3 échantillons pour l'analyse toxicologique.
Specifically 3. From the eye, 5
Allez,
milliliters from the left ventricle should do it.
une pour sur le cœur,
Left on the bladder, we drop
la
10
vessie.
milliliters of fluid.
3 échantillons, bah le troisième c'est où? Ah, là d'accord, j'avais pas vu. L'œil.
Vitreous humor analysis is very useful in indicating long-term alcohol abuse. Now we take our samples to the centrifuge. But before I do that, I need to find my notebook. My dyscalculia means that I always double-check the settings. Please excuse me while I run and fetch it.
Alors, dans le bureau, récupérez le carnet comportant les valeurs correctes pour la centrifugeuse. Allez, bah c'est parti. Comme s'il n'avait pas pu prendre son carnet avant.
This whole thing is covered in stains. I should check this out under the microscope sometime.
Réalisation de l'analyse toxicologique. Présence d'alcool. Alors, bonjour, je suis Kate Brooke, journaliste de New Orleans Weekly. Quoi. Vous n'étiez pas chez vous. Je commence à croire que vous m'évitez. Monsieur Handman. Bref. Comme vous le savez, nous souhaiterions écrire un article mettant à l'honneur les réalisations de votre femme. Nous serions ravis d'en discuter avec vous. Je joins ma carte de visite à ce message. Je vous appellerai ce soir. J'espère que vous serez chez vous ou à votre travail. Cordialement, Cabrook. Alors, les gens qui insistent comme ça, c'est un peu chiant. C'est un peu chiant. Ah. Ferme la fenêtre. Non, mais dis donc. Alors, réaliser l'analyse.
But the word is, the lab will be open tomorrow.
Ouais, mais comment faire l'analyse puisque le
Let's get back to
labo...
the examination.
Le labo est fermé ici.
We put all of the samples into the rotor.
Alors, les notes. Alors, utiliser la centrifugeuse. Ok, je suis d'accord. Présence d'alcool. Alors, d'accord. Time 15 minutes. 70% en speed et pipette de 5 millilitres. Ok. Non. Ah.
Now we set the appropriate time and speed.
15 minutes. Speed 70, on a dit.
Okay, let's roll.
Eh ben, je pense que c'est bon. On est bon. Allez, pendant 15 minutes, on attend.
Oh shit.
Oh.
The fuses again.
Wow, qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Where were we? Oh yes, the blood alcohol concentration. Let's see what we've got here.
Bizarre.
Everything's separated as it should. Our lab is closed until tomorrow after the last, incident. However, considering that Toby's favorite eau de parfum appears to be ethanol, I'm guessing the results won't surprise me at all. Let's go further. We will now focus on the cardiovascular system, specifically the heart.
Alors, il faut reprendre
We remove
l'autopsie.
the organ and examine it closely.
Une analyse poussée du cœur en l'examinant.
We look for dark hypoxic areas, clots, or other elements that stand out as abnormal. At first glance, the heart looks fine. The pulmonary trunk and aorta seem to be in good condition. There are no pathological changes that would have contributed to Toby's death.
Ok.
Now let's take a closer look at the stomach.
De l'estomac?
Size is normal, healthy, and as expected, the stomach has no major external damage. We must now cut it open and inspect inside. We will do it carefully so that its contents do not spill out.
Ok, il veut que je fasse une Il faut que je dissecte...
We open the stomach along the greater curvature, from the heart to the
Oh là
pyloric
là.
end. Oh, I already feel like there's something left inside.
Allez, on va y arriver. Pas si compliqué que ça non plus.
Okay,
Voilà.
large amount of gas, small amounts of yellow, grayish food content, resembling some kind of meat. Either our deceased hadn't eaten in days, or the bulk of his stomach had already found a way out.
Allez.
Looks like I'll have to find the missing contents. There are two ways here. One is obvious, and the other is... It couldn't have been suffocation, could it? I'll add this to the list and move on to the deceased's neck.
Alors, il nous dit donc que le contenu de l'estomac indiquant une digestion interrompue, du vomi peut-être. Donc, ma foi, commencer une analyse poussée de la trachée en l'examinant.
At first glance, the trachea looks normal.
Voilà la
Same result
trachée.
as with the stomach. The external inspection doesn't tell us anything. This time we'll cut on a tray.
Ok, il va falloir sûrement la disséquer.
While cutting such a small organ as the trachea, we must make a precise incision. To be able to cut with the very tip of the blade, we must hold the scalpel as we would a pen.
Allez.
And after careful examination and deduction, we've got it. A clogged trachea. It's time to summarize the whole thing.
La trachée était obstruée.
Based on the report and preliminary documentation, it's safe to assume that the deceased passed out after consumption of alcohol and then fell asleep on his back.
Voie respiratoire bloquée.
Then, the gastric contents refluxed and flooded the airways, causing death. That's why we don't forget about the recovery position at dorm parties.
Ouais. Alors, le défunt s'est sûrement endormi ou évanoui après avoir bu une grande quantité d'alcool. La concentration de celui-ci a supprimé les signaux dans le cerveau, contrôlant le réflexe nauséeux, provoquant l'étouffement. Faut pas boire comme ça. C'est pas bien. C'est pas bien. Alors, du coup, nature du décès, accident naturel, suicide inconnu, homicide.
And now it's all clear. The death was suffocation. Now, signature. The mystery is solved. But for us, this is not the end. First, the dead body needs to be cleaned up.
Voilà.
For this, we will need to close the body and grab the needle. First, we unroll the skin flaps.
Refermer le corps.
And then, we sew the deceased back up.
Alors, il faut que je sélectionne l'aiguille et il faut que je recoue le corps.
I'm using the baseball stitch technique.
Ok.
This stitching method is very strong and quick to do.
Ah mais d'accord, j'ai juste à avancer comme ça en fait, ok. D'accord, ça se fait tout seul. Ok, d'accord.
Beautiful.
Laissez le corps.
Now we say goodbye to the deceased and put them safely in the fridge, ready for the next stage of their journey.
Placez le corps dans le réfrigérateur mortuaire et fermez ce dernier. Bah allez.
God, I'm tired. I'll drop these samples off at the lab on the way to the bar.
Rejoindre votre voiture sur le parking. Eh bah allez. Fin de
Well, Stephen,
l'autopsie.
I don't feel like drinking alone today.
Bon, bah pas trop mal, dis donc. On vient de faire notre premier cadavre. C'est sympa. Alors, qu'est-ce que c'est? Putain, faites pas ça. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Tu vas me parler? Non? Bon, bah alors. Qu'est-ce que tu veux? Faire quoi? Ah, là. Ouais, d'accord. Ah, alors. Laissez-moi tranquille. Alors.
Forgive me. What? Christ.
Quel cauchemar, bah oui.
Dream. Ah, fuck.
Alors, prendre les cachets dans la salle de bain. Oh, ce bordel. Oh, ah, moi je pour... Oh là là. Ah non, mais moi je pourrais pas. Je pourrais pas vivre comme ça. Oh mon Dieu.
Uh, so much light everywhere.
Je pourrais pas vivre comme ça.
A
C'est pas
pill a day
possible.
keeps the defective jack away.
C'est pas possible de vivre comme ça.
It's a shame these won't help with my hangover. I think I'll take a piss at work. The fucking phone. Okay. I know I'm late. I'll be there soon. It's not like the dead are impatient.
Jack, no.
Alice? Who is this?
It's Charlotte Graves.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize you. I
Je
thought
comprends plus rien là.
I thought it was work calling.
It's okay. I hate it when work calls me at home, too. How is everything? We haven't talked since. You know.
Well, there are good days, and there are bad days. What can I say? At least I can hide away at work.
Well, you always were the most comfortable in the dissecting room. Listen, I have an unusual request.
Okay, how can I help?
It's nothing serious. I just wanted to ask. Do you have any pictures of Alice? Maybe one where the two of us are together? I'd love to have something to remind me of her.
I guess. I'm not sure. I'll look through her things.
Thank you. I'm sorry to trouble you with this. All this can't be easy for you.
I'll get through it somehow. I've been meaning to sort through her stuff for a while. Have you asked Stephen if he has anything?
Yes, I spoke with him this morning. He said he gave everything to their mother and that I should ask you.
I see.
Jack, I know you're trying. That you cope somehow. Stephen's there for you. Although, well, we all know how he can be. But, I mean, if you wanted to reminisce about Alice, talk.
I really should go now. I overslept, I'm late for work, and I still have some errands to run on the way.
Oh. Okay, sure. Sorry to keep you.
I'll look for something and send it over. Thanks for the call, and bye.
Oh, do you have my address?
Not on hand. You'd best remind me again.
292 Browning Lane, apartment 432, Johnson City, New York, 13790.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank you. It would mean a lot to me. Just miss her so much.
Yeah, me too. And that's okay. Really, no problem.
Thank you. Take care, Jack.
You too, Charlotte. It was nice to hear you.
Ok.
Well, that was a bit unexpected. I should probably find something to send.
Je sais pas du tout qui c'est cette fameuse Charlotte là. Trouver une enveloppe et une photo d'Alice à envoyer à Charlotte. Oh là là.
An indispensable element of every office.
Non.
I should really try and read a few of these.
Non.
Menu for today. Dinner in town and takeaway coffee.
Non. Là. Non. C'est pas Alice ça? Je ne comprends pas
They
si c'est
certainly
pas
have more
Alice.
will to...
Ah là? Alors. Non, je peux pas défaire? Ouais, alors là, ça commence à devenir space, hein. Ah, peut-être celle-là, alors. Non. Alors là.
The remnants of last night's binge with Stephen. I'm not sure if it's still edible.
Je ne vois pas. Ah, peut-être celle-là. Il y en avait des plus jolis quand même.
It's been almost a year. She got it for her first day of work, and she broke it the same day. She said it was for luck.
Ah putain, elle était
I
enceinte.
wasn't able to support her through this. It's always good to have something for a rainy day. Alice and Charlotte in Amsterdam. It's hard to believe they've known each other for so long.
Ok.
It would be better if Charlotte had this. It deserves to be on display and not hidden in a drawer.
Oui, je suis d'accord, mais ah bah.
Okay, time to go to work. I'm seriously late.
Ok.
I should grab some coffee and aspirin on the way.
Non mais ce bordel, mais c'est quoi ce foutoir dans cet immeuble?
These fluorescent tubes are brutal.
Oh, le vacarme de l'ascenseur. Voilà. Allez, tu me descends en bas. Ah, nananana. Ah, ça y est. Putain, mais la sortie de l'immeuble est par où? Ouais, non, père l'hypopète, oh. Glisser la lettre dans la boîte aux lettres. Ok. Voilà.
I hope this helps, Charlotte. Okay, all done here. Time to go. Huh?
J'ai vu personne. Bizarre. Allez, nous, on va bosser.
Damn, I forgot my jacket. Ah, well, I'll brave it for tonight. Too bad.
Allez. On a perdu du temps, hein. On a perdu du temps pour travailler.
Nice and fresh. At least it's peaceful here.
Allez, c'est parti.
Good evening, Mr. Ridley.
The timesheet handman.
Eh? Ah, salut, mec. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Tu veux quoi? Hein?
Some corpses have more personality than this guy.
Ok, ça, c'est la cuisine. Bizarre. Ça, c'est mon bureau.
Christ. Who leaves the window open in the middle of November? So I'd better check the answering machine.
Allez, moi, je ferme la fenêtre, là. Putain, la fenêtre, là, il fait froid. Pas possible, ça. Ok. Ouais, il fait tout noir, on voit rien, hein. On peut pas allumer la lumière? Non. Bon, bah tant pis. Storage, non. Oh, ça y est, on a l'ouverture du labo. Très 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 bien. Ça, c'est super. Allez. Bon, on a un nouveau cadavre. Bonjour, madame. Enchanté, je suis le médecin légiste. Alors, la caméra. Vérifier la messagerie vocale du bureau. Ah, merde. Ah, du coup, moi, j'ai foncé direction l'autopsie du cadavre et rien d'autre. Alors.
Hi, Jack. I dropped by a little early today. I left the body with Ridley in the corridor. He wasn't sitting in the locker then, so maybe he'll even throw him into the room. Well, how are you doing? I mean, it's your first birthday without her, and... I still have a hangover, and you know me, I run to the John like the neighbor's fucking dog. You know, today I slipped on his shit again. That fucking furball. He always has to shit next to my car. Anyway, I can't come over in the evening, but we'll catch up on the weekend, okay? Bye. Fuck. I almost forgot. Charlotte called me this morning. She asked about you, so answer your calls, Jack. This time it's not a reprimand for being late.
That's par for the course. I wonder when this clown will learn to look under his feet.
Examinez le muffin. Là.
I actually forgot it was today. Alice baked me muffins like these every birthday. A treat for later. I always crave something sweet after a section. Okay, joke's over. Apron, gloves, and get to work.
Alors, empilez le tablier suspendu dans la salle d'autopsie. Et allez, c'est parti. Allez, direction la salle d'autopsie.
Ah, man. I remember you. You were on that talent show.
Megan.
What was your name again? I need to order another batch of these. I've got to remember to do that later. And that's the whole point.
On met en route la
Steven
caméra.
laughs at me for recording
Voilà.
everything. He says I have a bigger collection of stuff like this than most of the creeps he's caught. November 21st, 1991. Time, 9:13 p.m. The autopsy is conducted by Jack Handman,
Oh, la démarque
lecturer at
là.
the Medical University of
Là.
Missouri. After yesterday's lecture,
Là.
you should already know the ins and outs, so today we'll be consolidating our knowledge. So, where do I start? That's right, police folder.
Parcourir les informations du dossier de la police. Alors.
Ah, yes, Samantha Barker. Now remember, there's probably going to be a lot of chatter about this. Found in her own apartment by police patrol. Officers were called by a concerned friend of the deceased, who had been unable to contact Barker for several days.
Alors, ok, elle a été retrouvée donc chez elle. Elle s'appelle Samantha Baker.
During the interrogation, a friend of the deceased admitted that Samantha never got to grips with the sudden fame that came after winning such a high-profile talent show. The deceased was found in her own apartment, in a semi-recumbent position on an armchair. Large quantities of alcohol and empty packets of sleeping pills were also found in the apartment.
Oh, ça c'est louche, hein. Ah. Ah, il m'en manquait un.
After her first album became a commercial success, she was hit with a creative drought. She suffered panic attacks and severe sleep problems. Drugs and medication came into play.
Ah. Ça c'est pas bon. Ah! Ah bah oui.
When questioned, friends admitted that Samantha's last days before losing contact seemed extremely happy and relaxed. She also quit drinking alcohol and mentioned something about rehab. The friend also admits that there was no indication of an impending tragedy.
C'est quand même bizarre. Ok, on a fait le tour.
Well, let's see what settled this matter. As you can see, the body is fully clothed. Therefore, before we move on to photo...
Désolé les amis, petit coup de téléphone pour du travail. Donc, pas bien le choix, obligé de décrocher, c'est important. Alors, déshabiller le cadavre.
Okay.
Ok.
Now we can continue with the examination. Again, begin by taking photographs of the cadaver. I guarantee that
Ré-
over time it will cease being embarrassing for
Hop.
you.
Récupérer l'appareil photo.
First, we photograph the whole body.
Allez, prendre les photos globales du cadavre. Alors, une photo globale.
And now, any suspicious looking marks or wounds.
Allez, maintenant les problèmes. Excusez-moi.
Interesting. Very uneven. We need
Ok.
to investigate this.
Non, ça non. Ah, ça oui.
Yes, I've seen this many times.
Le ventre,
You don't get such bruises from a normal contusion.
les genoux, non. Les pieds.
Well, there's even more here.
Ok, est-ce qu'on n'aurait pas autre chose là? Ça crée des hématomes, hein?
A few we will need to look into here.
Alors, épingler les photos au tableau. Allez, c'est parti. Voilà. Réaliser l'autopsie. Allez, bah on y va.
Notes prepared. Time to take a closer look.
28 ans, 40 kilos. Ah, elle était pas bien épaisse. Examiner les zones d'intérêt à la loupe. Alors, la loupe. Outil, loupe. Là.
Some furrows have imprinted more strongly, others less, as if someone was, undecided. The number of bruises suggests that there may have been some kind of tussle.
Ok.
And here's something interesting. The skin of the deceased is covered with numerous blisters. Some of them are ruptured. Others still contain fluid residue.
D'accord.
Such bruises are caused by either a very heavy blow or by some internal issues.
Ok. Et les pieds.
More numerous blisters. We have some leads to investigate here. Let's write this down.
Uhum. Alors. Indiquer les blessures trouvées sur le mannequin de l'écriture. Alors, hop. Mannequin d'écriture, voilà.
On the neck of the deceased. Currently, it's difficult to given the condition in general, although it's easier to have abrasions on your feet. But the number and size of the blisters suggests that it's probably a matter of barbiturate poisoning, to be checked in the lab later.
Alors. Intervention,
Given the
des
testimony
cloques.
of the victim's friend, I add alcohol poisoning to the list of potential causes of Miss Barker's death. A blood test will no doubt quickly verify that hypothesis. But first I'll check for external traces. For this we use the good old UV lamp.
Alors, commencer un examen externe poussé avec la lampe UV. Merde, je me trompe de bouton à chaque fois. Outils. On a une lampe UV, oui là.
I look carefully at the whole body. UV rays will reveal any traces. The area around the head is empty. Right hand clean.
Je vois pas du tout.
Legs, there's nothing here.
Je vois pas.
The left hand seems to be fine. No marks. Well, nothing to...
Wow, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Merde. Attendez.
surprise us here.
Ah, c'est bon.
Now gently, we take the deceased by the hand.
Ah, j'ai eu peur. Examen rigide. Alors, examen rigide.
And we check for rigor
C'est parti.
mortis.
Rigidité. C'est quand même un drôle de bruit, hein.
Again, the hand falls freely. After yesterday, you should know what this means. Since we don't have a definitive lead, we will examine all the key organs one by one. So, I'm starting the internal inspection.
Allez, scalpel.
I dissect the skin of the deceased. And I proceed to deflect the skin flaps. Compared with yesterday's body, the deceased has only trace amounts of adipose tissue. Now for the
Alors.
ribs.
On connaît maintenant, hein.
What do
La
we have
pince.
here? Or rather, what don't we have? There is certainly no sign of internal bleeding.
Alors, la seringue.
Sometimes regarding bruising, it doesn't take much. My wife was constantly banging into furniture, walking into door frames. It's a wonder she never broke anything. Before I disembowel the deceased, I will take samples for toxicological tests to determine the alcohol content. All done. I'll transfer these to the centrifuge.
Alors,
What was it? 15, 70, 10, 75? Maybe one day I won't need my notebook.
je comprends pas que le carnet, on le récupère pas d'entrée de jeu, hein, franchement.
Numbers have never been my strong point. It's probably why I regularly forgot birthdays and anniversaries. I'm lucky I
Mais
have
l'alcool,
someone
c'est
to forgive me.
15 et 15,70 l'alcool.
Jeff
Voilà.
does it with this old thing. Handle with kid gloves.
L'alcool, c'est 15,70, on est d'accord? Ah, c'est ça. 15,70. Ah,
I'm starting the centrifuge. Let's see what results come out.
la mémoire.
The laboratory is already open, so... Fucking hell! Ridley! Mr. Ridley! Where is he? The fuses need resetting. Fuck it. I'll do it myself. I swear there was a flashlight in here.
Il faut faire quoi? Examiner le disjoncteur dans la réserve. Laboratoire. Il est où le storage? Office. Bathroom.
Whatever. I know where the switches are anyway. First the right,
Allez.
and then the left.
D'abord à droite, puis à gauche.
And voila.
Putain. Quoi ce bordel?
What?
Ça se merde.
What the? Oh, for fuck's sake.
La
Can't
porte
I
qui se ferme tout
fucking
seul.
peace?
Ah, c'est bizarre. Hein.
Jack Hanman speaking.
Easy, why so rude?
Steve? Sorry, man. This place is falling apart, and Ridley won't even lift a finger to help. You just can't work here.
Did the centrifuge strip the fuses again?
Yeah, eventually everything's gonna go up in smoke.
Look on the bright side. It's a free cremation with your autopsy.
Jesus, stop it. That shit pisses me off.
Okay, sorry, Jack. Anyway, I'm calling to ask how the autopsy's going. Soon there'll be journalists sniffing around for info, so we'd best be ready.
I'll whiz through this in a couple of hours. It doesn't look like a complicated case to me. More of a formality. The report will be available in the morning.
Sounds great. Thanks. Phew. How's your head?
Well, my head seems better than yours. On the way to work.
Holy fuck. Jack, turn on the radio.
What? What's happening?
Quiet.
A 3-car police convoy was involved in an accident near Pete's Bay Bridge while transporting prisoners to Orleans Parish Prison. At the moment, we do not know the exact number of victims or whether any of the convicts escaped. However, the scale of the accident indicates a large number of victims, possibly even fatal ones. Police are on their way to investigate the incident and secure the area. We know that the injured prisoners are on death row. The police were to transport them to their execution, which was to take place tomorrow morning. Many of them are very dangerous criminals. We will report on the matter on an ongoing basis, so stay tuned with us.
What was, Stephen, was Red Pete one of the passengers? He was, wasn't he? What if he survived?
Jack, I have to go. You want me on site?
What if he survived?
I gotta go. Talk to you later, okay?
Fuck.
Bizarre quand même, hein.
Jack.
C'est quand même bizarre.
I need my pills. You heard him, Jack. A serious accident.
Allez, les
Lots of
cachets.
victims. He's definitely dead. Yes. Nothing's going to happen. Christ. I've got to get back to work.
Alors, récupérer des échantillons dans le rotor. Allez.
What?
Qui est là? Rouge à lèvres. Peut-être le vent. Peut-être le vent.
Technical break. At least I know I can pursue
Alors,
it
les
later as a
échantillons.
doctor if I need to. Fucking hell!
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Ah!
All right, let's see if we were able to get anything out of this piece of crap.
Allez.
And miraculously, yes, the samples did spin. I'll transfer them to the chromograph in the lab.
Que c'est les échantillons sur le rack? Ah, le rack. Quel rack? Ah, j'essaie de regarder, mais rack. Quel rack?
Poor soul. I get cases like this more than any other.
Ah, est-ce que ça serait dans le labo? Plutôt.
All right, let's load this up.
Là.
I placed the test tubes in the rack.
Voilà. Prendre la pipette et la préparer pour un prélèvement de 5 mm de fluide.
Now, just take 5 milliliters from each.
Alors, préparer la pipette pour 5 mm de fluide.
Precisely.
Voilà. Alors, il faut que je descende la pipette.
And the next.
Ok. 10 mm de fluide maintenant. Là.
Five more.
Ok. Préparez la pipette maintenant pour 15 mm. Allez, bah c'est parti. Allez.
We
C'est bon.
put the prepared sample into the machine.
Nickel. Placez l'échantillon récupéré dans le chromatographe. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? F. D'accord.
Let's see what we have here. The results indicate that the deceased did consume alcohol shortly before her death. However, this is not an amount that could cause poisoning leading to death. Just slight inebriation.
D'accord. Donc c'est pas
I can
l'alcool.
return to the body and continue the rest of the examination.
Ce n'est pas l'alcool qui a causé sa mort. Alors, reprendre l'autopsie. Eh ben allez, c'est parti. On va vite reprendre cette autopsie. Savoir ce qui lui est arrivé à cette petite dame.
The chromatograph results show that we can eliminate alcohol poisoning from our list of potential causes of death. However, remember that alcohol can affect the functioning of the entire body. It disturbs the heart rhythm, accelerating its rate, and dilutes the blood, which may result in more severe bleeding in the event of an accident. Also remember that alcohol affects the metabolism of drugs in the liver, which I'll now look at in more detail.
Alors, j'élimine l'alcool, c'est pas ça du coup.
First, I'll pick up the syringe again.
Sélectionnez la seringue et prélevez 2 échantillons pour analyser donc la toxicologie. Alors, seringue. Allez,
I'll
ben
take
on est
samples from
reparti.
the
Hein.
liver and the heart to test the concentration of barbiturates in the body. That's enough. I'll do the test later. I'd best not try my luck with the centrifuge right now.
Alors, le
Now I remove
foie.
the liver. No lesions. However, it is slightly enlarged. Perhaps it's a slight inflammation or drug-induced damage. It may also be the result of the deposition of substances from drugs. Let's check the weight of the organ.
Ok. Peser le foie sur la balance, puis le placer sur la planche à découper. D'accord. Alors, la balance, où est-ce que... Là-bas. Donc, on va te la
The
poser comme une merde.
weight is 1,300 grams. The liver is enlarged.
Ok, 1,3 kg. Allez, bon, on va le
I'll
disséquer.
move
Hein.
on to a cross-sectional study. Perhaps the enlargement is the result of early cancerous changes. The blade glides through smoothly. I don't feel like I'm encountering any changes with an unusual structure. No steatosis or cirrhosis. The liver is actually quite clean inside.
Alors. Ok, alors, reprendre l'autopsie. C'est parti.
The liver is basically healthy. We already know that the deceased didn't abuse alcohol. The question is what about drugs or other
Cirrhose,
substances?
pas de traces d'abus
I
d'alcool.
move on to the heart.
Ok, commençons une analyse poussée du cœur. En l'examinant. Là, oh, j'ai vu quelque
At a
chose.
glance, we can see signs of a heart attack. The deceased is definitely too young to have a heart attack due to natural causes. The liver is enlarged, not from alcohol poisoning, and the heart looks like it has collapsed. So, I guess we need to go to the centrifuge and check for these barbiturates.
Une
The last time I
overdose.
saw this
Oh.
kind of poisoning was a few years ago. I better check the data in my notebook. He was a middle-aged guy. He took his medication and forgot about it. So, he took another pill. He forgot
Allez.
again, and took another one. And another one. Until he took the last one. That's why it's better to have amnesic drugs in boxes. Alright.
Alors, par contre, note, parce que du coup, pour la toxico... où est-ce que ça peut être? Ça serait ça. Je pense. Ouais, je pense que c'est celui-là. 10,75. Ah, je me trompe de bouton à chaque fois. Alors.
We close the centrifuge and pray that it
Voilà.
doesn't trip anything again.
C'est parti.
It looks like our luck is in.
Ok, c'est fini.
We can
Allez.
take the samples to the lab now. I wonder how she was able to get hold of these drugs.
Allez, c'est parti. Il faut que je place les échantillons sur le rack.
Okay, 2 samples this time.
Allez. C'est parti.
6 milliliters each.
Pipette. Sur 6 mg. Là. Alors, il faut prélever un premier échantillon. Ok. Et là, il faut que je me mette sur 12 maintenant. Allez. Voilà.
Well, let's see how much of it we find.
Alors, qu'est-ce que ça donne?
Nothing surprising. Significant amounts of phenobarbital metabolites of hepatic origin. Looks like I'll have to check the contents of the deceased's stomach.
Allez, il va falloir reprendre l'autopsie.
The tests show that the collected blood contained enough barbiturates to cause cardiopulmonary collapse. The question now is whether it was an accident or a deliberate act. I'm proceeding to examine the stomach. Before extraction, I ligate the entire organ to prevent its contents from spilling out. Okay, I'm now cutting out the organ, which will move to the board for dissection. Normally, the stomach and intestines are full of surprises. But not this time. We see remnants of undigested food and a dense mass of pills. You don't take this many drugs by accident.
Et merde, désolé, j'ai oublié de remettre le micro. J'ai vraiment pas de chance, moi, aujourd'hui. Hein. Lol. Bon, du coup, bah, j'ai remis en route. Bah, comme je vous disais, bah, il a fallu que je parte pour un rendez-vous pour le travail. Donc, du coup, bah voilà. Bon, je suis retour. Donc, on peut enfin continuer notre petit jeu.
Length and width normal. No obvious pathological changes. Undigested drugs found in the stomach of the deceased. The direct cause of death was probably an overdose. I'll check the rest of the organs, and then the nervous system.
Comment la
We'll see
trachée
how
et la
significant the marks on the neck are for the whole. Lungs are normal. No leak. The deceased's intestine is normal. No clear pathological changes. Abdominal cavity checked off. We can check the brain.
Oh putain, on va passer au cerveau. Ok.
I make a cut to open the lid of the victim's skull.
On lui a rasé le crâne.
Brain is normal. No obvious lesions. Alright. I need to dissect it on a board.
Disséquer le cerveau. Allez.
Using a knife, I carefully cut through the brain tissue. I peek inside a bit, and... I don't think there's anything worth noting. As expected, the deceased's brain is in excellent condition. No discoloration or changes due to hypoxia. There is still the matter of the marks on the neck. They look superficial, but who knows? Maybe the spinal cord has been severed. I need goggles and a saber saw. I think the goggles were in the desk drawer. Oh, they're out there. Alice. Saw. Saw. Fuck. I don't see it here. Oh. I know. I probably left it in the basement after its last cleaning.
Alors, là, il faut qu'on fasse un examen de la colonne vertébrale. Il faut qu'on demande à Riley où est la clé des sous-sols.
Mr. Ridley, I need a key to the basement.
It's in the social room.
Why is the key lying at the... never mind. Thank you.
Hey, Hammond.
If only he could put that much enthusiasm into his work. I get the feeling that searching through this rubbish is more pathogenic than working with corpses. Please, may this be the last trip.
Ouais. Il faut que je sorte alors. Je passe pas par dehors.
Fuck. Why did the prison convoy have to get into an accident? Jack, take a deep breath. Deep, pleasantly cool breath. You're nearly finished with the autopsy. Then you can go home and rest.
Ça doit être ça, non?
I'll take the saw.
Ouais. Allez, super. Allez.
Fuck! It's jammed! Doesn't anyone do maintenance around here? Damn hatch. Damn red Pete. Will I ever again? Will I ever be free of that fucker? If only.
Allez, bon, on descend. C'est ça le prix de basement là. Faut toujours qu'on soit là-dedans. Hein. Allez hop. Putain. Ah, salopio.
It would be easier if I put things away
Je
properly.
visite, hein. Et...
Damn student lectures and their fucking props.
Ouais, y en a un qui vient boire du whisky, hein. Allez, donc du coup, on a récupéré la scie. Et maintenant, il va falloir qu'on termine l'examen de la colonne vertébrale. Allez. Quand même bien fait, hein, le
And like
bordel.
clockwork, he's already sleeping. Sorry for the short interruption. I hope you all
Alors,
took the opportunity to grab some coffee. And now that I have everything I need, I'll move on to revealing the spinal cord.
on dirait comme une scie sauteuse, le bordel. Oh! Oui, mais oh, comment on fait? Oh! Ah putain, mais nous, moi c'est cul du coup. C'est dégueulasse.
The spine is removed. I can see that the spinal cord was not severed. This shows that apart from the marks around the neck, hanging didn't negatively affect the condition of the deceased. Ladies and gentlemen, almost over. Now, to sum up and tidy away the body.
Elle
The
a plus rien
direct
dedans.
cause of Samantha Barker's death was a heart attack resulting from an overdose of barbiturates.
Alors, indiquer la cause principale du décès. Bah déjà, elle avait une sacrée dose, donc je pense que c'est une
Traces
overdose. Hein.
found on the body suggest that the overdose was a deliberate act, following a failed attempt to hang herself. The autopsy found no evidence or genetic materials indicating that death could have been the result of an attack. Third-party involvement must be excluded.
Ah. Eh bah allez, hein. On va dire que c'est un suicide. Hein.
Autograph, and we can start sewing. In the 1950s and 1960s, the use of barbiturates for suicide was actually quite common. I think it was most talked about after the death of Marilyn Monroe.
Bon ben voilà. Au revoir madame. C'était un plaisir de vous rencontrer. Refermez le corps.
At home, it was a help and comfort. On death row,
Allez, on prend
a
l'aiguille.
farewell to the convicts. Well, we're done for today. Thank you for your attention.
Placez le corps dans le frigo. Allez hop.
Tiring day. I can feel those hunger pains coming on. I guess
Rejoindre la
I'll pick
voiture.
something up along the way. Gloves in the trash. Leave the apron for cleaning. Now I can go. A nightcap will do me good. Good
Allez.
night, Mr. Ridley. The police will pick up the body and accompanying documentation in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I guess there are actually two things in this world you can be certain of. Death and Ridley's reluctant attitude. Alright, maybe three things. My whiskey on the rocks when I get home.
Et voilà, du coup, on a fini la deuxième autopsie.
So cold. I guess I should have brought my jacket to work. This block can be quite intimidating when it's so quiet. Almost there. Stephen didn't want to go out for a drink tonight, so I'll drink my whiskey in the company of my TV. Shit. I
Alors,
forgot the muffin. Well, Ridley will have a nice treat for the night. I'm sure he'll be his happy, thankful self tomorrow.
alors. L'ascenseur, il est où? Là. Il faut que j'aille là. Allez, c'est parti. Oh. Un peu de repos. Et moi, c'est de ce côté, si je me trompe
What?
pas.
What? What the fuck? But I locked it.
Oh putain!
I'm sure of it.
Quelqu'un a retourné toute ma baraque? Oh shit! Chapitre 2.
Who the fuck did this? I don't have anything valuable. Oh god. Oh god. What am I supposed to do now? Money. They must have stolen the money.
Vérifier la boîte à bijoux. D'accord, mais elle est où? Où est-ce qu'elle est, la boîte à bijoux?
Fuck!
Putain.
Great. That's all I need. Ooh, what if it was Red Pete? I wasn't able to support her through this. She got it for her first day of work, and she broke it the same day. She said it was for luck.
Que s'est-il passé? Bah, tu t'es fait cambrioler, mec. Hein. Que s'est-il passé?
Where? I need my pills. I can't get my thoughts together.
Bon, ils ont pas l'air d'avoir fouillé la salle de bain, hein, quand même.
Okay. I'm gonna have to report this to the
Appelez
police.
Steven.
Christ. Why did the neighbors not report anything? I'm calling Steven. Steven?
Now, Jack, I told you, I'm going for a drink with you for another night in a row.
That's not why I'm ringing. Although I could do with one. Someone broke into my apartment.
What? Did anyone see anything? Have you called the police yet?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, no one contacted me. As for the police, I'm calling right now, officer.
All right. Do you want me to head round? Look for any trace evidence?
I don't know. No, I guess not. Honestly, I don't have the strength to deal with it right now. I just want to lie down.
Are you sure? Because it's no trouble at all.
I think so. I'm sorry. I just wanted to calm down a bit. I don't know. That's probably some stupid joke. Only money was stolen.
Money? From Alice's box? Oh, fuck. Listen, I can come over. I have the key. I'll drop by, do what I need to do, and you go get some sleep.
No, don't trouble yourself. Lately, I've been just so tired and distracted. I don't know. Maybe I forgot to close the apartment door on my way to work. If anything else is missing, I'll let you know and call the police.
All right. Just make sure you close it tonight. If you see anything weird tomorrow, let me know. Whoever did this may be watching you.
I don't think anyone is dumb enough to come back.
You're probably right. Take care, Jack. If you need anything, call me.
I promise I will. Thanks, Stephen. Sorry to bother you again. I've just been all over the place lately.
It's not a problem. Good night, Jack.
Good night.
C'est quand même bizarre.
What? I guess I should clean this shit up. Where to start? I should pack this thing away. I have no interest in DIY at the moment. Now I'm sure I won't get caught up in these papers. Alice's family should really have some of these. Maybe I could barricade the door with this. There you go. I still don't understand why Alice liked this painting so much. To be honest, I could leave it like this. I'm glad this didn't break.
Jack, why?
That's enough for now. Ugh, I think I'm just tired.
Pas compris là.
Oh yeah, I should take my pills.
Il se défonce un petit peu trop au cachet, notre personnage. Hein.
I feel like it takes me forever to finish these things. That's enough. Ugh. It will never look clean. I need to quickly change and finish getting ready.
De changer et quitter l'appartement.
I'm gonna be late for work again. Got my keys, got my files. Check. Time to go. Remember to close the door properly, Jack. I'll ask the neighbors tomorrow if they saw anything suspicious. Ugh. I wonder if Ridley fixed the coffee machine.
Voilà. Il va falloir qu'on rejoigne notre voiture, qu'on aille au travail. Il y avait un cadre, cet ascenseur. Oh.
Huh?
Quoi ce bordel? Pourquoi ça m'a fait monter? Mais non, il me fait monter! C'est quoi cette connerie? Je veux pas monter! Donc je peux pas aller au dernier bouton. Mais ça c'est embêtant ça. Ça semble bien qu'à partir d'avant je pouvais. Quand même bizarre. On va descendre pas les escaliers. Hein. Et là on peut, je comprends pas. C'est chelou hein. Allez.
Maybe a bit optimistic. I'd better grab a coffee on the way.
Direction le travail.
I'm exhausted. I wonder who Stephen brought in today.
Hop. Je me suis carrément servi dans un verre, c'est plus simple. Alors.
Good morning, Mr. Ridley. Oh, he's not here yet? No, I'll do without him.
Ah, bizarre qu'il soit pas là.
Oh, come on. He was too lazy to even wheel the gurney to the autopsy room.
C'est bizarre.
Now for the tough part. The body needs to be moved. Where's Ridley when you need him?
Alors, placez la housse. Ouais, mais ça, je vais voir après. Pas possible. Ah. Ah bon, d'accord. Il veut pas prendre le livre. Donc, je serai obligé de venir le chercher après.
Huh?
Putain. Ok, ok. Putain.
All right. I just need some gloves and my apron. Then I can get to work.
Allez,
I'm
t'habiller,
going to need
gants.
my tape recorder for this.
Ah, faut activer l'enregistreur vocal.
Autopsy dated November 22nd, 1991. I begin by verifying the identity of the Jane. It's most likely Harper Lloyd, age 35. Found in a well-owned house by her neighbors Leonard and Dorothy Chelsea. Reported missing for a week. It is also known that the deceased was diagnosed with affective bipolar disorder. Harper was placed on drug therapy, which she dropped out of fairly regularly. During her treatment, she was under the care of her common-law partner, Richard Benson, professional truck driver. The last person who had contact with the deceased was her partner. Harper's last message read as follows. I'm gonna take a shit in their stupid well. Then we'll see who has the last laugh. Nice one.
C'est sympa.
Police records also show that Mrs. Lloyd was in constant conflict with her neighbors. The constant parties and subsequent brawls made living in the area nearly impossible, especially when Lloyd's partner wasn't around. Firefighters found the body after the Chelsea family began complaining that their tap water tasted strange, and at one point had begun to smell and turn a dark color.
Ok.
I proceed to open the bag, and the most important task in forensic identification of a drowned person is to distinguish whether the death occurred before or after entering the water.
Oh.
Okay, that could have been worse. I carefully removed the victim's clothes so as not to damage the skin. The deceased was found fully clothed. One shoe is missing. I'm going to need the camera to document all possible suspicious marks.
Alors, récupérer l'appareil photo dans le tiroir. Ok.
Definitely the first thing that stands out is the very advanced post. The skin of the deceased appears very delicate, smooth, and relaxed from being in the water for a long time. The whole body is extremely pale.
10 photos à prendre.
There are bruises and hemorrhages on the neck. These usually occur due to increased inhalation when fighting to breathe underwater. Post-mortem markings are seen on the underside of the body, that is, on the back, thighs, and calves of the deceased. It's likely that the deceased was lying on her back when she was fished out. The so-called washerwoman's skin on the feet. The deceased had indeed been in the water for a long time. The skin on the hands can be easily separated from the body. The separation takes the form of a glove. There are some obvious scratches on the skin.
Ok, épingler les photos sur le tableau.
So, after the preliminary exam, it's time to take a closer look at this.
Allez, autopsie. C'est parti.
Today's date, the deceased was closed.
Stéphane
Rigor mortis does
Gendo.
not need to be checked. Based on the state of decay, you can be sure it has subsided.
Alors, loupe.
Where to start? We see thick, white foam in the mouth of the deceased, resulting from pulmonary edema. Foam is a characteristic in deaths due to drowning.
Ok. Donc, par de la mousse par la noyade.
There are obvious scratches on the skin, especially on the back and hands. These could be defensive wounds, evidence of some sort of altercation prior to death.
D'accord. Les mains.
No obvious signs of struggle. The skin on the hands would have easily peeled away from the flesh. Some of the fingers have already lost their nails. The spots have a purplish blue-red hue, which is a typical sign of the death of the organism. Yep, pretty typical. Liver mortis are formed as a result of putrefaction of blood in the veins. Due to the fact that the deceased was wearing shoes all the time, her feet are in better condition than her hands. Nevertheless, we can still notice a clear, wavy skin and the so-called washerwoman's skin texture. Okay, that's probably enough to indicate a direction for further examination.
Alors, sur le mannequin. Chic.
I'd better note that
Là.
down in the records. Marks found those abrasions, hands heavily wrinkled, diffuse spots are. There doesn't seem to be, considering the deceased's penchant for drinking alcohol, it could have been a mere accident.
Alors, possible cause du décès.
In this case, the question is, was drowning an accident or of suicidal intent?
Plongé dans l'eau. Indique que la victime est restée longtemps sur le dos. La victime est restée longtemps sur le dos, pas de trace d'empoisonnement. Il est deux fois celui-là. Là, on a la noyade, mais après...
Maybe it's just an abrasion, or maybe the result of a fight, and fortunately, the skin on the hands didn't fall off. Liver mortis of a simple trip, loss of balance, and as a result, you end up in a deep hole. Before I begin the dissection, I'll make sure the suggested identity is correct.
Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on doit faire maintenant?
The suitcase with the fingerprint equipment should be around here somewhere.
Prendre les outils appropriés dans la mallette pour réaliser l'examen des empreintes digitales. Ah bah ça doit être ça.
Scalpel,
Non.
scissors, syringe,
Voilà.
magnifying glass. Oh, here it is.
Ouh.
With decomposing bodies, the tissue of the pads and the fingers tends to shrink. If the body of the deceased is well preserved, the fingerprint sheet should always be checked. Slipping fingers, too much or too little ink, or inaccurate hand position can make fingerprints illegible.
De l'autre côté là-bas.
I'm going to conduct a dactyloscopic examination. If in fact the deceased is in the police database, I will find her.
Alors, injecter de la glycérine.
Glycerin is injected successively between the nail and the skin of each finger. The substance then enters the fingertip, removing shrinkage and wrinkles.
Ah, ça fait ressortir les empreintes.
Now I take a brush. Only when the skin is taut and elastic can you use ink. I think it's enough. I'm getting fingerprint samples.
Allez.
In the case of drowning victims,
Allez,
you
le
have to be
papier.
extremely careful. The skin may fall off the hand like a glove when you take the print.
Alors,
I'll
laissez le
use the
corps.
fax machine to add the print into the system.
Hop, j'ai pris les empreintes digitales. Ok.
Green button and once the data uploads, I'll run the prints against the police database on the computer.
Comparer les empreintes digitales sur l'ordinateur à l'aide de la base de données de la police.
Great. The data is there. Upload.
Alors,
Now, go through the database and find a matching print. Expect possible hours of fun.
faites 10. J'ai pas eu le temps de voir.
One more. Analyze button.
Ça a l'air d'être correct.
And we have a result. Everyone
C'est le
has
seul
a
où il y avait le,
story, even if it's
qui
just
avait
a
le
police
petit truc au
record.
milieu là.
So,
Alors, une
as
américaine, Harper
the
Lloyd.
deceased turned out to be Harper Lloyd. That went smoothly. I'll print this out and attach it to the medical records.
Trouve, d'accord. Beaucoup de troubles de l'ordre public. Voilà l'étalage.
I wasn't sure it would amount to anything, but the World Wide Web is
Alors,
more
lire les
impressive for
résultats sur le
speeding up my
fax.
work. Great. Now I can go back to my inspection.
Allez, reprendre l'autopsie. Bon, on savait que c'était Harper, de toute
I'm
façon.
adding the name of the deceased. I'll start the internal examination by taking fluid from the victim's brain. A needle inserted through the nose will do the trick.
Sélectionnez la seringue et prélever un échantillon pour rechercher diatomée. Seringue. Allez.
If the victim was alive when she fell into the well, she must have swallowed water fighting for her life. And then diatoms, characteristics of pooled water like a well, got into the body. In the meantime, I'll check the sample under the microscope. I'm sure that these algae traces will be found in the samples taken from the well where police found the body.
J'active
Now
un
I
peu
need
plus
to
vite.
adjust the knobs properly and place the diatom in the center of. I won't even notice an army of diatoms from this distance. Oh, nah. Oh, I'm finally starting. The aperture still. Oh, I'm finally starting to see some. Nah, too much. Oh, I'm finally starting to see something here. Great. This way I'll see if I'm dealing. And perfect. It's not a dirty lens, I'm afraid, but rather a bad focus. I won't even notice an army of diatoms from this distance. Great. This way I'll see if I'm dealing with a large concentration. The aperture still needs adjustment. The image is. Oh, I'm finally starting. The aperture still needs adjustment. The image is too dark.
Utilisez le microscope pour vérifier la présence de diatomée. Oui, d'accord.
And perfect. It's not a dirty lens, I'm afraid, but rather a bad and perfect.
Comme ça?
Oh, I'm finally starting to see something here. The aperture still needs adjustment. The image is too dark. I won't even notice an army of diatoms from this distance. Oh, I'm finally starting. The aperture still needs adjustment. It's not a dirty lens, I'm afraid, but rather a bad focus. And perfect. Oh, I'm finally starting to see something here. Great. This way I'll see if I'm dealing with a large concentration of these algae.
Je comprends. Ah, mais faut que je bouge là. Putain, d'accord. Mais je sais pas du tout ce que je cherche, hein.
As expected, we find the aforementioned algae in the solution. Their upper part, epitheca, which overlaps the lower, hypotheca, is clearly visible. The
J'ai...
presence of diatoms in the brain samples taken indicate that the deceased was certainly alive when she fell into the water and was possibly conscious.
J'ai complètement rien compris là, cette étape, personnellement, pas compris du tout.
Since there were diatoms in the brain, it means that many more of them must have entered the body. Studies of the rest of the organs will most likely confirm this hypothesis.
Ok, d'accord.
Finally get to the practical
Donc
part.
il va falloir la scie, quoi. Ah non, scalpel, l'incision. Ah
I must
d'accord.
be extra careful because the skin of the deceased is very stretched. I wouldn't want an explosion here.
Ok.
You can immediately see a very large swelling of the organs. In addition, all internal organs are very congested. I proceed to remove the rib cage.
Allez, la pince pour enlever les
It's
côtes.
easy to see that the ribs have been imprinted in the lungs. So, I'm going to start by drawing blood from the lungs for testing for diatoms. If diatoms were only present in the lungs, this would mean that the victim was placed in the well after death, and the perpetrator wanted to get rid of the corpse in this way. Now, I remove the lungs and proceed to their examination. Taking the lungs in my hand, I feel that the tissues have lost their elasticity, which is the result of water emphysema. In addition, there is significant swelling of the organs, and as a result, we have a nice imprint of the ribs. The emphysema itself, it's clear how far it's progressed, which is characteristic of drowning. Corpses found in water are worth examining with a tomograph. However, I can't count
Oh là
on
là,
such
c'est quoi
luxuries,
ça? Pourquoi
so
c'est...
I must reach for a more archaic technology. A bucket and water.
Storage room. Alors.
Who has anyone been here? I
Là.
hope no one dipped a mop in it. It's best to go to the lab for this.
Alors, réaliser un test d'immersion. Mais il me faut pas de l'eau, non? Non. Bon, bah s'il faut pas d'eau. Wow. Oh, c'était quoi ce bordel là? C'était quoi ce bordel?
Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife. I guess I forgot to clean the knife.
Pardon. Réalisation d'un test d'immersion.
Historically, the lung float test is used to detect infanticide.
Ah, d'accord. Faut que je l'emmène là.
The water should be at room temperature. That's enough. To test for this, I have to place the lungs in a container of water. This checks if there is air in the lungs. And speaking of lungs, everything is ready to bring them here.
Ok, il faut que j'aille récupérer les poumons sur le corps.
Of course, such a study isn't without flaws. Air may have entered a newborn's airways during resuscitation attempts. Gases released during decomposition could also... In this case, however, it's about something else. Namely, the amount of fluid in the lungs.
Allez.
To test for this, I have to place the lungs in a container of water and wait to see if they fall or if they will float on the surface.
Ah, c'est l'eau qu'il fallait viser.
Just as I assumed, the lungs collapsed.
Ah, il
easily.
coule. Portez les poumons dans la salle d'autopsie pour les disséquer. Eh ben, allez.
Fluid could have entered the lungs during panic attempts to catch breath underwater, but it could also be the result of bacterial infections or cancer, so further investigation is needed. I move on to dissecting the lungs of the deceased.
C'est parti, on va disséquer le poumon.
You can hear the distinct, very unpleasant crackling of the tissues being cut through. The parenchyma is remarkably pale, although small hemorrhagic foci and petechia are present on the surface.
C'est dégueulasse.
All right. Now, I will check the collected fluid under a microscope. If we find 20 diatoms on the slide, it can be considered drowning, and our result is not false positive due to possible contaminations.
Allez, microscope.
Let's see. Although I expect
Alors,
to
voyons
find
voir.
them easily. And perfect. The aperture still needs adjustment. The image is too dark. Oh, I'm finally starting to see something here. I won't even notice an army of diatoms from this distance. Great. This way I'll see if I'm dealing with a large concentration of these algae. As expected. In solution, the diatoms are clearly visible. There are smaller and larger clusters of them. There will definitely be more than 20 of them.
Putain, le paquet, hein.
I'll make a note of all this.
Alors, on
So
reprend
far,
l'autopsie maintenant.
this case looks pretty standard. It's clear from the beginning that it's drowning. Well, the procedure requires me to check everything anyway.
Ok.
So, I move on to checking the other organs. I ligate the heart, and then remove it for
Le cœur il est
inspection.
dans un état.
Strongly developed putrefactic hemolysis of the organ can be seen at first glance. Apart from that, no signs of a heart attack or other heart disease. I move on to the next organ. This time, it's the liver. It's immediately apparent that the deceased didn't care for us. The beginnings of cirrhosis are visible in some areas.
Début de cirrhose. Ah bah d'accord.
I transfer the organ to a board and proceed to dissect.
Allez.
The cross-section clearly shows dilated veins and many small hemorrhagic. I must admit that this is quite a feat, considering the rather young age of the deceased. Harper enjoyed drinking so much that she might not have lasted a few more years.
Ah bah oui.
I move on to the stomach. I take a sample of the fluid for testing.
Allez. Pour des échantillons encore. Là.
It looks very turbid. I'll see what happens after spinning, but that's in a moment. Now,
L'estomac.
I carefully ligate the organ, then cut it off. It's enlarged, probably full of putrid gases. I transfer it to the board and carefully open it, checking the contents.
On dit c'est qui l'estomac. Ok. Ah putain, j'aime pas quand c'est l'estomac. C'est le zigzag qu'il faut faire là.
One thing you'd never get used to is how much this desk smells.
Là, j'ai touché.
Okay, the stomach is full of fluid and unidentified organic matter, which is probably leftover food.
Ouais, c'est
So
dégueulasse.
let's check the diatoms. Again, but in a centrifuge for a change. The problem with examining drowned people is being able to show whether the death was due to drowning or whether something else contributed to the death. Cramp, heart attack, drugs, homicide, or some accident.
Je comprends pas qu'on puisse pas le récupérer ce carnet dès le début.
And a careful interpretation of the collected data, including those from the field. That's why it's so important to collect as many samples as possible. Unfortunately.
Ce carnet, je comprends pas que dès le début.
This is one last little sample.
Il parle trop le personnage.
Now set.
Il y en a qu'un? Ok. Alors. Test diatomée. Là. 35-25. Ok, c'est parti. Alors.
Done. I'll run it directly into the chromatograph and run it against the data from the police. I'm certain the analysis will show similarities between the fluid and water in Chelsea's well.
J'ai pris le coup de main, mais non, je sais à peu près ce qu'il faut faire.
Let me think. 3 milliliters should be fine.
Alors, préparer la pipette. Alors, 3 millilitres il nous faut. Voilà. Allez hop.
Okay, now it's the chromatograph's turn.
Alors, qu'est-ce que ça nous dit?
Yes. The water sample matches the one provided by the police.
Ouais, d'accord, mais ça dit pas grand-chose, quoi, en fait.
Well, the results are quite clear. I was hoping it would be a more interesting case.
Alors,
More diatoms. Analysis indicates the same origin. Blah blah blah.
ah là là, pourquoi il a refait ça? Un problème, il se déconnecte de mon écran, c'est chiant. Bon, ça va, il se déconnecte pas de votre côté, donc heureusement.
There's little left to do. I'm going to check the airway patency of the deceased.
Alors, la trachée.
Interesting. Looks like there's something stuck in the trachea. I'm moving to the board for further inspection.
Ok. Elle a l'air de rien à voir. Disséquer la trachée sur un plateau. Ok. Allez, là.
I dissect the trachea and open the organ. Inside, I find a wedding ring. This is based on the size. I can say that it's a woman's wedding ring, quite standard from the outside. There's an engraving inside.
Elle est gravée le 9-13-1980. Donc le 13 septembre 1980. Ok, ben retour. Prendre la bague. Bah oui, je crois qu'il a bugué, hein. Ah merde.
What the fuck? But this is my ring, Helen.
Ah, ça y est.
But how did it?
Il me l'a
This
prise.
should be at home. I have it. At home. It's I have to check this out. Where are my meds? Where the fuck are my meds?
Allez, on va aller prendre les cachets.
Jesus Christ! Hope these all make it go away. I have to check the apartment. It can't be. Jesus Christ!
Alors, rejoindre la voiture et rentrer immédiatement à la maison. Mais on n'a pas fini l'autopsie, là?
Mr. Ridley. Mr. Ridley!
What's all the ruckus?
I need to go home. Immediately.
What? Now?
I have to. Have you seen anyone here this morning? Anybody suspicious?
No, there was no one. Dorothy was, but only for a moment, then she left. What's wrong with you, Hammond?
Okay. Thanks.
What about the corpse?
I'll come back, I promise. Jesus Christ!
Ah, tellement j'arrive même plus à ouvrir la... Mais il veut pas que je parte. Ah, d'accord, ça se ferme tout seul. Allez, je me casse.
I have to check this out.
Là, ça va pas aujourd'hui, il faut que je parte.
This can't be real. Where is it? Where is it? Where?
Alors, on est de retour chez nous. Vérifier la boîte à bijoux. Alors.
Please. It's not here. It's not. I need to go. This
On
is
va appeler
so...
Steven. Allez, appelle Steven.
Come on, Steven. Pick up the fucking phone.
Hey. What's up, man?
They took the ring.
What? What ring? What are you talking about?
They took the wedding ring. Alice's wedding ring.
One sec. You mean burglary? You said nothing was missing.
Yes, I know that. I don't know. I was jittery. Maybe I didn't notice. I don't know, but that's not the worst of it.
Calm down, Jack. Breathe. What happened?
I found it in the trachea of the deceased I was working on. Do you understand? I pulled it out of a dead woman's trachea.
What?
I don't know what's going on. You think Red Pete wants revenge? He's playing with me. Huh? I knew it. I knew it from the beginning this was going to happen. I didn't make it up.
Jack, listen to me. Try to calm down. Don't leave the apartment. I'll be with you right away, okay? I'm on my way.
What sane person would do something like that? How? And when? When the fuck? Fucking Ridley lets in whoever he likes as usual. What are you saying? Steven? Don't leave me, man. Come on. Fuck. Oh, God, what now? Okay, just calm down. Just
Ouh, je suis en train de devenir fou là.
I need a drink. Jesus.
Je suis en train de devenir barge. Le bouchon, il avait déjà volé quand ça a fait le bruit. Bon, bah, pas beaucoup de jumpscares hein, jusqu'à présent.
Just one sip more. Yeah. Jesus. Just one sip more. Oh, God.
Ça devient très louche. Ok, chapitre 3.
All right. I can't do it anymore. These reports will kill me one day. I'll have to finish it over the weekend. It's time to go to work. I should take out the trash first. Jesus. Fuck. Maybe I'll just ignore it.
Et ben voilà les amis, on va s'arrêter là par contre pour cette vidéo. En tout cas, j'espère que ce petit début de Autopsy Simulator vous a plu. Si c'est le cas, laissez un petit pouce, abonnez-vous, partagez les vidéos à vos alentours, laissez un petit commentaire, ça fait toujours plaisir, ça fait fonctionner la chaîne. En tout cas, pour moi, le jeu est assez sympathique. Pas beaucoup de jumpscares jusqu'à présent, ce qui est un peu dommage. Mais quand même sympa. Voilà. Je vous dis à très bientôt pour une nouvelle vidéo d'Autopsy Simulator. Ciao, ciao les amis.